Hello, my fellow nerds, and thanks again for watching another episode of Nerdboy Gaming. I am Nerdboy81. Well, Crunch 451 has landed, and as anticipated, we have some delays. However, it's not all bad news. See, this, I think, is a good step in the communication direction. Maybe not the news we wanted to hear, but certainly a good step. So let's chat about Crunch 451 and some of the good things happening. And first, we have to talk about the Dinotherium. The Dinotherium is here, but what came with it was a big update with a ton of fixes. Over 100 fixes were on the comprehensive list. And we had fixes from everything as dinos appearing as level 1, boss battle issues, additions to the battle rig, meshing. There was a ton. Some game-breaking issues appeared to have been fixed on this. It is a giant list. Now, I am not going to go through every one of these. There are other creators who have already done so. So if you want to talk about the update, certainly you can head that way. And I think this was a really important step forward for them. I said it just in my video a couple days ago. I think the community feels this way. I see this comment probably more than any other comment is fix the game, fix the game, fix the game. And when you put out these major updates with hundreds of fixes, one, it shows that they need to be fixed, but two, it's a nice step in the right direction, and it really was needed after the bag of dog poop that
he called the shit poop.
that was left on Wildcard's front door by Snail Games.
Judas Priest Barber is one of those flaming bags again.
This was a much needed positive step in the right direction, so thank you, Wildcard, for that. However, Crunch 451 did give us some bad news. As expected, we have delays, and it's going to be a bumpy road for ASA probably for the next few months. We've already kind of had a rough month or so with some of the things happening between the DDoS attacks and, of course, Snail Games and the terrible trailers and some of that stuff, but it's going to be bumpy for them because they are undertaking a major engine upgrade from 5.1 to 5.5. And with that, we got a new date. That Unreal Engine has been delayed until between April 15th to May 15th. Now, I don't know, Wildcard, why you would just not say May 15th. Even if you could get it out earlier, fantastic, great, round of applause if you do. Why even set any expectation that April 15th is an opportunity? If you were able to get it out April 15th, great. Tell everybody May 15th, and then maybe April 15th say, hey guys, great news. We're going to be dropping this in 7 days. We got it done faster than expected. I don't understand the month because all that does is just leave a lot of I'm unsure about whether or not you really are dedicated to, not to the process or to the upgrade, but to the dates. When you give a range like this, you should have just said May 15th is our target date to go live with Unreal Engine 5.5. I think it's a silly way to say you're going to do it between two certain days. For me, unfortunately, it's the update I've been really waiting for. I have a lot of hope that this is going to be the update that's going to clean up some of the rendering of the shadows and the shaders and some of the issues I see in the clouds and the leaves and in the water for my Xbox. That's my hope anyway. But there was some real interesting wording in the crunch that I thought we should talk about. Let's start with some of the good wording in the crunch. The patch that rolls out the upgrade will provide immediate benefits to performance, namely around rendering, load times, and will also be structuring the game packages so that maps other than the island become optional downloads, significantly reducing the size of the base game installation. As somebody who's running on console with limited space, I really appreciate that particular, let's make it so I don't have to have Scorched Earth loaded or the center or Extinction, considering I haven't even played those maps. I'm still working on the island. That is a really nice add-in, and if you're not playing those maps, you can just delete them and you don't have to have them loaded. So that's kind of a nice little pick. And then also, of course, the performance improvements. Some of the things we've been talking about already are very much welcome, especially around rendering, because I think I'm not a game developer by any means. I'm just a guy who plays games, but I do feel like that the rendering is one of the big issues, in the shadows especially. But when you get into some of the areas, and I'm just going to use the island as an example because that's where I spend most of the time on ASA. When you get into some of the foliage and there's things happening, your frame rates drop and you see some stuttering. So definitely very welcome improvement on performance. Hopefully we can get cleaner frame rates, less lag, and just a cleaner look to the game. A little bit less of the soft edges, the oil-painted clouds, and of course the pixelation in the water. But there was some contradictive language in the crunch that I read it a couple times, and I don't know what it means. I'm going to theorize what I think it means, but there's some contradicting language. So let's start at the top, and then we'll talk through it. So the biggest project we're working on at the moment is the engine upgrade to Unreal 5.5. This is a massive undertaking by the team, and it is taking longer than we've anticipated. It is still our highest priority internally. Basically, all of our core engineering resources at the company are focused on this, and we are targeting a launch between April 15th and May 15th. We're primarily, and this is where I think it gets a little bit odd to me, we're primarily still working on eliminating bugs that have occurred as a result of the upgrade on the already existing content. But then, not even like a paragraph or two later, they also state, we'll be using the new tools available from the engine to improve our pipelines and workflow, which should result in higher quality product. This will primarily be noticed on new releases such as Ragnarok, which is currently being developed in the 5.5 version of the engine, Valguero, and Lost Colony. In the future, we hope that we'll be able to find the time to go back and take some of the new rendering systems from UE 5.5 to make further improvements to the already released maps and content. Again, I'm just reading between the lines. It sounds like we're going to see a lot more performance improvement on the new maps, and that there's going to be some upgrades on the old maps, but maybe not as big of an improvement as we'd be hoping, especially if you're somebody like me who's still stuck on the stinking island. Eventually going to move on, but I'm still many, many maps away from Ragnarok, or I'll probably play Lost Colony, I guess, when it comes out. I don't know. I'm so far behind on the game. But anyway, it's hard to tell if they're saying that, if you read between the lines, if that's what they're saying. I don't know. You guys tell me in the comments below what you think. If you think that they're just saying, yeah, we're fixing the current, we've done the upgrade, now we got some bugs we've got to fix, but you're going to see some performance improvements over here because we're going to have, we're actually building this in Unreal Engine 5.5 versus taking a map and then bringing it to 5.5 and then having to fix it. I think that's what's happening, but again, some contradictive language there. But nonetheless, language. They're actually communicating with us what's happening, what's going on, and it's not some baking a cake fluff that they gave us last time about the bakery and this and that or the other, but actual logistical, real information that, again, is really valuable. The only thing I said, just say May 16th, guys. Just say May 15th is the goal. You're shooting for May 15th. If you can get it to us earlier, great. Take the extra time to get it, through Xbox and PlayStation. Why give us a month? Just tell us May 15th. That's my biggest note. But with that, we also have a delay to Ragnarok. Ragnarok is now slated for June 2nd. I know a lot of people in the community are very excited for it. Obviously, if it's going to run better on Unreal Engine 5.5, and that's what they're building it on, they have to have the upgrade in place before they can go to Ragnarok. So you're probably looking at June. So realistically, and again, this is just based on the track record, you might be looking end of May for the Unreal Engine upgrade, and then probably mid-June for Ragnarok. If I had to guess, just based on their track record about how long they end up pushing these things off, if the upgrade is such a massive undertaking, it's possible that it may take a little longer and there may be some more bugs that they have to iron out before they can launch Ragnarok. Hopefully not. Hopefully they're further ahead of their cycle, but that's what it would seem like to me, just based on track record so far of their current releases. Probably one of the more welcome additions to the crunch. Again, great communication. It's good to see appreciating when you hear and have some transparency. But it's the last paragraph. Beyond these, the team is still hard at work delivering the additional maps for the rest of the year. More bug, balance, and quality of life fixes, which you should have already seen a number of in yesterday's patch. And of course, ASA's first canonical expansion pack, ARK Lost Colony. So all that's really great, guys. I mean, it's good to see the communication. It's probably one of the better crunches they've had in a couple weeks. If I'm going to be nitpicky here, like I said, there's just a couple things that bothered me. I don't mind delays. Delays happen. A game I'm super excited about, Fable, was just delayed for a year, right? Those are going to happen, and that's okay. Get the game working, make it run. I would prefer the delay. But where I think my frustration, and maybe even some of the community frustration comes in, is, can you tell us about these delays? I don't know, not 3 days before the thing is supposed to drop, especially when you're dropping maps, because there are people who logistically try to take time off, content creators who try to schedule what they're trying to do. So many people's schedules are impacted by these types of delays, and some are not, but generally some are. And, we try to schedule and balance and prepare for these upgrades. And when they are dropped, or when a delay is dropped 3 days before they're due, it just really impacts the schedule. None of us, I think, really anticipated Unreal Engine would happen this month. In fact, I actually had it June, July in my head as to where it was going to be. So May 15th is not so bad. Second nitpicking thing, is just tell us May 15th. Let's just don't give us a month. That's silly. But great communication. We do appreciate it. And the fixes yesterday, those go a long ways, and the fixes to come, we look forward to those as well. So looking forward, guys, it's going to be a rough couple months. It's been a rough month or so, and it's only going to be a bumpy road until probably a couple weeks after Ragnarok drops and things get stabilized. But we also have to talk a little bit about Snail Games. They are the publisher, and every dollar that we send to Wildcard, some of it goes to Snail Games. As hard as that is to swallow, it is part of the reality that they find themselves in. Their earnings estimates were mixed. Their revenue was good, but their earnings were low, and their stock has dropped to $1.04. They're on that line where they have to keep above $1, so we'll see what happens. I mean, it dropped 21 cents, which is quite a big drop for $1 stock. So we'll see what that means, or what ends up happening, or where that goes. I think Snail really needs to let Wildcard, they really need to sell off Wildcard. The IP, though, is their big revenue maker. And it's an unfortunate relationship that is, it's a parasitic relationship, honestly. I wish it was better, but it's not. And I see the community split on, supporting Wildcard, which is doing great things, and, they're putting their heart and soul into this game. They're not perfect. They have some issues, some things they can work on. But I think Snail's really a big problem for them. But hopefully going forward, we'll get more of this type of communication. And we'll start seeing some more progress, and hopefully they'll continue to fix the game. But I don't know. You guys tell me in your comments below, what do you think? We all knew this was coming. Is this a major blow? Do you like the communication? Where do you feel like they're going? And of course, if you're new here and you haven't done so, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I'm going to try to get back to being a little bit more active on the channel, getting more regular updates. I got a little bit sick, and it's a whole story. I don't really need to get into it. I just got in my head a little bit. But going forward, I'm going to try to do more videos like these. I am still playing the island on good old ASE. I still have edits to come for that. I am currently editing the first episode of my first time playing Baldur's Gate, which will be a blind playthrough. I've got that going. I've been doing a video for No Man's Sky that I'm going to be putting up at some point. I got a lot more stuff in the can. I've actually probably put a lot more hours into playing and gathering content. Now I just got to edit it and get it out for you guys. So lots more to come. So make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. And guys, until next time, have a great day.